And hello everyone, Gabe the Izard here again. Today I am walking in downtown Little Rock, going to explore the historic Mount Holly Cemetery. This cemetery was located on Broadway in Little Rock, on the corner of the freeway, across the street from Sonic. It's been here since 1830 something. It used to originally be located where the federal building is on 4th and Broadway. It was relocated here by two individuals that donated land. Roswell Beebe and Chester Ashley. And I do have a connection with Chester Ashley. My stepdad's, he is a great grandfather of my stepdad, and actually their family has applied here, and we're going to be visiting those graves along with a couple other graves that are going to be in here, famous people. And always remember, stop and smell the roses. Didn't smell too good. So this is the entrance. Like I say, it's located right off of Broadway. You can actually drive right into here, and there's plenty of places you can pull in and park. You can pull in and park in some of these spots. But this is a pretty historic place. Like I say, it was founded in the 1830s. I'll get a 1843. Here we go. And people still get buried here. But see right here already. Jeff Davis, Attorney General, Governor, and United States Senator. We're gonna make our way up here, but people still can get buried here. There's limited plots because it has to be a plot that was a family plot that's been had. I mean, you can't come in here and buy one unless you had like $1 bajillion. But it's pretty cool. There's lots of different architecture, granite headstones. And I think these are sandstone for some reason. Sandstone tombstones. But just a quick little walk right in here to show you this first. My connection to this grave site. If you think, like right now we're walking almost to the kind of not the very top, but it is right here on the hill. You can kind of see down here. This is Broadway. There's the Simmons Bank building, but right there is Broadway. And or actually that's not Broadway. I don't know what I'm talking about. But this is the Chester Ashley grave site, and so you can see Ashley. Find it. See here. Here it is. I knew it. It's right here at the front. Chester Ashley. He was basically just a senator while one of the first whenever Arkansas became a state, and he was a prominent businessman. He just was a businessman that founded a lot of the area in Little Rock. His Chester Street in Little Rock is named after him, and Ashley County in southern Arkansas is named after him. a lot of their families actually came from or migrated towards South Arkansas. This is Sterling Cockrell. He was a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the state of Arkansas. And then these Cockrells, these are my stepdad's grandparents. A lot of the people that I know, like family members, are named after them, Ashley and Sterling. But here's one that I wanted to bring over because this one holds a little bit of a piece of, not really my heart because I don't really know him, I'm not related to him. I just take the namesake from him, Gabe the Izard. My last name is not Izard. Of course, there are people with last names Izard, but I take that because that's the street I live on. And I had a band that was actually called The Izard. And I just did it because of the street that I lived on. But the namesake of that street is actually from the second territorial governor of Arkansas, George Izard. And he died in 1928. He was born in 1776. He was born the year that the United States became its own country. It became, succeeded from England, kicked that booty, and became a country. But he fought in the War of 1812. Major General George Izard. Back then, governors didn't have elections for territorial governors. They were actually assigned by the President of the United States. And George Izard was actually from New York. He was born to a wealthy family. He was a businessman. He became a military person. And he, he got in good with the prez, and he appointed him as a territorial governor. Did lots of things that were done at that time. Of course, he formed a militia because at that time, while he was here in Arkansas, which was about late 1820s, early 1830s, before we became a state in 1836. It was during the Indian removal, and so the Indians were coming through here because by way of the Arkansas River, they were forcing them into Oklahoma. And if you take the Arkansas River from the east going west, it leads right into Oklahoma. So they kind of used the river valley because you didn't have a lot of mountains and stuff to traverse, so it was an easy path. But they came through here, and George Izard was scared because all these massive amounts of Indians were coming through, and he's like, let's form some militias, so if these Indians go crazy and revolt, we got some people that we can stand up against. Of course, that's coming from a military guy. That's the way that they think. But it's pretty cool. He actually being buried in, it's not really my family plot, but it's my stepdad, which I care and love him deeply. It's his family plot, and that is right here, smack dab in the center of Mount Holly Cemetery. So I'm gonna go find some more interesting graves and see what we can't dig up. All right, as I said, Mount Holly was founded because of Chester Ashley and Roswell Beebe. Born in 1795, died in 1856. They are located actually right here next to the Chester Ashley. So they got the premium spot right here in the center of the cemetery. One cool thing about this cemetery, I mean, like older cemeteries, they really put a lot of thought in them. I mean, not like the Egyptians where they dug or made huge pyramids and stuff, but they did immortalize them in a very good architecture. I mean, you just don't see things like this. Huge headstones, huge monuments. One thing about living in the 1800s is the infant survival rate was very small. So out here there are quite a bit of children that just didn't make it. Some only lived a few years, some only lived a few days. This is the Woodruff plot, and yeah, this is him. Yeah, this is William Woodruff, and he actually was the founder of the Arkansas Gazette, which was the newspaper in early Arkansas, and it was in existence from the mid 1800s until around 1986, and the Arkansas Democrat purchased it, and they became the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. But that was the William Woodruff. So also in Mount Holly Cemetery is a Civil War marker. May of 1864, Confederate troops in the Shenandoah Valley were under strength. New Market. So Chester Ashley, Samuel Adams, and Francis Johnson, all fighting in the Confederate. What? Chester G. Not the Chester. Sometimes I'm a moron. I have no idea who that is, but it's pretty impressive. Look at this huge tree. Look at this pine tree. This pine tree's got to be 100 plus years old itself. Like 3 foot wide. And so this is Rector. This is golly, I don't know who this person is. Okay, here's the Albert Pike lot, which Albert Pike was a very famous Mason. He was high up in the Masonic Lodge. There's actually an Albert Pike Mason Lodge here. There's different notes for him. This is his wife's. For some reason, I want to say that Albert Pike is not buried here, even though he did a lot in our state. This is for his children. For some reason, I want to say that he is buried in Washington, but I'm not really sure. I should probably look that up. You can look it up. Oh, look here. This is pretty cool. Quaddy, Indian wife of John Ross. Whoa, hold it steady there. Indian wife of John Ross, chief of Cherokee tribe, died in Little Rock, 1839. Erected by George Izard and the Confederate United States Daughters. Chapter United States Daughters of 1812. It's pretty cool. Look at here. Got some change and stuff. I don't understand what I guess it looks like some arrowheads. I don't know what those what the change up there means. Quaddy, maybe it's a quarter. I have no idea. This is pretty interesting. Please don't say it's true. Barbie? Oh, spelled different. Here lies Ernest J.W. Fennell. He came up with the cooking spice fennel. Here's the Henderson plot. Lots of Hendersons here. Danny, Nanny, Ted, Carol, Janice. But I'm not finding Harry. If you know where Harry might be, let me know. Some and not waste your time and just get to the hot points. All right, this is the W.B. Worthen. This is a great monument. This is for the family of the people that founded Worthen Bank in Little Rock. It was a prominent bank and ended up getting bought out by, oh God, can't remember. It was it had a red logo. I don't remember what it is. God, I'm a moron. And then it ended up, they got bought out by Bank of America, but then the founders of Worthen Bank ended up making the Bank of Little Rock, which is still around. They have a few locations, and they're kind of the old-timey, good old boy local bank. Pretty cool. A lot of these people, Pope, named after, or named for, Pope County was named for, namesake of. God, I'm a moron. Ozzy? Let's get the heck out of. Gotta be around here somewhere. What in the heck happened to his head? Again, look at this. That's a solid granite. That's pretty cool. Look at little squirrels. Really is a nice little peaceful place, you know. If you want to come out here and get some exercise, it's a cool place to do it. This is actually a little work shed because they maintain this property very well. Usually there's people here working, mowing, doing all kinds of upkeep. As you can see, that's the freeway's right there, so we're right off the freeway. So if you can actually see down this street in the distance, I cannot make this thing zoom for my life. Look at it, it's going berserk. It's going freaking berserk. Okay, so if you look straight down this street right here, this building that's right along here with the glass and everything, that is the federal building, and that is where this Mount Holly Cemetery was actually located. I don't think it was called Mount Holly then, but then they moved it up into the top of the hill. So if you can imagine, Little Rock is pretty flat. I mean, like just on the other side of this building right here, the river is right on the other side. I mean, that's the river market area right there. And all this was pretty flat. So you think about it, this area was all on top of a hill. You can see it still goes up to an incline. This was at the edge of Little Rock in the 1800s, out of town. I mean, like, this was out of town. So they moved it up here, make room for progress. 13th governor of Arkansas. Who could this be? Oh, good old Major General Thomas Churchill, of course. If you're wondering what Sidney Johnson looked like, this might resemble him. I just really like this monument. It's pretty big. Big base, big cross. Pretty cool. That sweet little angel was missing some fingers. As you can see, mixed in with all these old ancient, I say ancient, I mean, like, you can't even read the inscriptions on here. These are blank, like basically blank. I can't even read that. You can see, like, I'm pretty sure this is like a sandstone or a limestone, but you got brand new ones in here. 1963, 69. Oh, brand new. They look brand new. Look at this. Another solid granite memorial. Better. Look at this little tucked away jewel. Little crypt right here. It's pretty crazy. There's just two bodies, or maybe even more, just slid right in there. backside of this. It's Billingsley. 1966, 1990. So that's a pretty old one. They've had that up for quite a while. They've had the burial plot for a while. One in particular grave that I'm looking for. It's a pretty special one for Arkansas history. There's a school named after him. There's a road named after him. He died at a pretty young age. 17, I believe. Once I find him, I'll fill you in. Just gotta keep on looking. Not him, but pretty impressive. I found it. I can't believe it. I found it. I've been here before, I just couldn't remember where it was. But here lies the remains of David O. Dodd. Born 1846, died 1864. He was a child martyr. Arkansas Boy Martyr of the Confederacy. He was 17 years old and the Union captured him, and he wouldn't name names. And they offed him. So the 17-year-old became a pretty well-known person in the Confederacy. Yeah, Arkansas was in the Confederacy, but you kind of got to think that Arkansas was on the far west of the Civil War. I mean, we'd only been a state for a couple years to a couple decades. You know, there were Union and Confederates here. The thing about Arkansas is we just kind of tend to want to be by ourselves, and we just didn't want Union coming in and having their way. So what are you going to do? You're going to join the people that are going to fight with you and oof, that was gross. And fight back. Can't deny the human spirit. That's nice. Looks like a couple girls with the cloth over their head, but it's just just pillars. Just pillars. Thanks for joining me on my little walk around Mount Holly Cemetery. I suggest come out here and check it out. You know, there's plenty of little alleyways that you can walk up and down. Lots of cool things to see. It's pretty much shaded everywhere that you go. So even on a hot day, you can come out here, get a little exercise, see some really cool stuff and really historical things. I barely touched on it because, quite frankly, I didn't do any research or anything. I just came out here and of things that I already knew. But thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Look forward to seeing some other historic things around Little Rock, and whenever this Corona thing is and I'm able to get away and other places, see other things, I'll let you tag along on that too. Hit subscribe, hit like. I'll be seeing you. Taking time to smell the roses. Got me. Got me. Jeez. For the love of Pete. Side note, Parkview High School does a Tales from the Crypt around Halloween every year. It sells out. I mean, there will be people lined down this block and around the corner. But it's really interesting. The drama at Parkview, their drama group, they dress up in the outfits of the time period. They come out here, each one plays an individual character. One even plays David Dodd. And they come out here and they give you a little brief bit of history. So you go from person to person all throughout the cemetery. And it's pretty cool. And then, of course, the proceeds benefit their drama department. So who doesn't want to support kids? See ya.